Alright, what's going on everybody? Norris here, back with another video, part 6 of my top 104 greatest rappers of all time list. Like I was saying earlier in the last videos, this is my own personal opinion in terms of who's the greatest rappers of all time, all eras, talking like back in like the 80s all the way up until today. We're gonna keep going on with this list here. First on this video here, at number 54, we got Hopsin. Hopsin is a rapper from Los Angeles, California. He's not really new school, even though he kind of started his career in like the 2000s. A lot of people probably think that he's a little bit younger compared to like most of the rappers on my list. He was a skateboarder before he really started getting into hip-hop. Eminem was his biggest like idol while he was growing up listening to hip-hop and like slowly transitioning into like doing it himself. He always looked up to Eminem as his like #1 idol, so I thought that was pretty interesting. I could see that too when you listen to his music. Very similar to like what Eminem would do with his music, with like the graphic nature of like him describing certain scenes and how it's just like very like real whenever he's talking about different like lines and different topics. It's very real and it's like the type of stuff that actually happens in like real life. Talks about like relationships with like ex-girlfriends and like very similar to Eminem style. He's a pioneer of like Soundcloud rap. We're gonna keep moving on to number 53. We got Pusha T. Pusha T is a New York City rapper. He actually grew up in Virginia Beach. He was born in New York City, the Bronx. I think when he turned like 4 or 5 years old, his parents and him moved to Virginia Beach. Him and his brother grew up there. His brother Malice, they started off as the Clips with him and his brother, but then his brother Malice started to get into like Christianity and started to like become more of a Christian. When they were young, they did a lot of drug trafficking and they were basically drug dealers of all kinds of drugs. And this is when they were like in high school still. Over the years, from that time on into like meeting Pharrell Williams, becoming the Clips with Pusha T, Malice started trend towards like the good side, and like all that drug selling back in the day kind of like got into his head and it made him want to like become more of a Christian. And like plus I don't really have the details of the stuff that they both went through throughout their whole lives, so maybe he went through some rough stuff that like really pushed him to like becoming more of a Christian. Pusha T, he started his solo career after Malice. He changed his name to No Malice and became a Christian, and then Pusha T kind of like stuck to rap, started off his solo career and like did really good for himself, you know, kind of just like took the talent that he was showing while he was rapping with the Clips and then kind of just went on with did a bunch of music with like Kanye West as he was signed under his label Good Music, and he also did a bunch of songs with Pharrell Williams. Well, at least when they were still the Clips, they did a bunch of songs. They had that one song that was really big, Grinding, that's the song. Okay, yeah, that's crazy. The name of the song just hit my head. That song was super big, super famous, so that's probably one of the biggest songs Pusha T was a part of. Yeah, still making music till this day. So number 52, we got Butterfly Ishmael. This is a rapper so he's the lead rapper from Diggable Planets. Diggable Planets is an old school hip-hop crew from like the early 90s, late 80s, back when like A Tribe Called Quest was like really big and De La Soul. They were a similar band. They kind of had like a Tribe Called Quest sound. That's his solo name. He goes by Butterfly whenever he does any solo projects. When he was working with Diggable Planets, he does kind of sound a lot like Q-Tip the Abstract. And Q-Tip's the lead vocalist, the lead rapper off of A Tribe Called Quest. I always compared A Tribe Called Quest to Diggable Planets. Those two groups are very similar in terms of like their sound and just their style. He's from the same area as Q-Tip is, Q-Tip the Abstract, so it's not surprising. They're both New York rappers. Pioneer of hip-hop, absolutely. When Diggable Planets was really big, that was around like the early 90s to mid 90s. You can look at him as like a hip-hop pioneer for a lot of acts that go on today. They like took notes off of this guy here. He has another alias called Shabazz Palaces, so this is a name that he goes under with his music that he puts out nowadays, and I 100% suggest you guys go out and listen to his music under that name because his music's crazy, like crazy good. Shabazz Palaces, or aka Butterfly, like I listen to his music today, like his newer songs under the name Shabazz Palaces. analysis. I've listened to all of his records under that name. Like at number 51, we got Immortal Technique. Immortal Technique is a rapper from Harlem, New York. He's mostly famous for the one single he put out called Dancing with the Devil. It was revolutionary for him to like make a song the way he did. That song came out like the early 2000s, you know what I mean? Where like nobody was really making music like that. Everybody was making music so differently. I feel like when that song came out, it just like changed the way people made music generally in the hip hop world, you know? It was shocking, but it was revolutionary. That song, when you bring up that song, you automatically think of Immortal Technique. That song became legendary, you know what I mean? And he wrote it, he made it. He went to Baruch College in New York. So he went to college as a rapper. Not a lot of rappers went to college. They basically, most of them just high school and then kind of drop out to do the music. He actually went to college, you know what I mean? I think he graduated. I didn't find that out through researching his information, but sounds like he graduated because he's a very smart rapper, very intelligent, has a very wide vocabulary, and just by listening to his raps, you can definitely tell that he's an educated guy. So we're gonna keep moving on here. At number 50, we got Schoolboy Q, and Schoolboy Q is a rapper from Wiesbaden, Germany. Later on in his childhood life, he moved to Los Angeles, California, started rapping with Kendrick Lamar at first. Kendrick Lamar and like Absol, what's his name? J-Rock. And J-Rock. So these three guys, Schoolboy Q, make up the collective Black Hippies. They're all under the TDE, Top Dog Entertainment record label. So they all make music with each other. They're all friends growing up with each other. He's one of those rappers that kind of makes like party music, kind of has the flow for party, more of a party style music, especially compared to like Kendrick Lamar and like Ab-Soul, where their styles are like a little more serious. Yeah, he was a drug dealer as a kid. Kind of looks like a lot of these rappers did some type of dirt when they were young, you know what I mean? So that's what we got at number 50, Schoolboy Q. Definitely well deserved to make this list. So at number 49, we got KRS-One, and KRS-One is a rapper from New York City. He's a pioneer of the old school world since he started in the late 80s with like the Boogie Down Productions, and later on became like a household name in the hip hop world as like a pioneer, especially in the East Coast of hip hop. Apparently he was homeless as a kid, going through a bunch of like family issues and like physical abuse, being beaten by like his stepfather, and he like ran away from home a bunch of times, but it led him to become the rapper that he became, you know what I mean? One of the greatest old school rappers of all time. Just had a super lyrical style of rapping, so he absolutely had to be on my list. Being at 49 shows you how significant and how talented, how skilled he was of a rapper. A lot of rappers that you hear today looked up to him as an influential rapper. So we're gonna continue on. We're gonna move on to number 48, where we got Ludacris. Ludacris is a rapper from Atlanta, Georgia. He started the label Disturbing the Peace. I'm not too sure if he started the label. He's like a co-founder of it, but I'm pretty sure he started it. He's the founder of it, or he might be a co-founder. But anyways, it's his label where he's signing other rappers. He always had that like cartoonish style whenever he made his music videos, and even when you're listening to his like lyrics and like his lyricism, he has a cartoonish style approach whenever he's messing with his metaphors and his similes. I always found that pretty interesting. He's also an actor. He's been a long time actor on the series Fast and the Furious that made so much money, probably really rich, especially because he sold a lot of records off of his music. He made a bunch of record sales. He made a bunch of money off of the Fast and the Furious, so he's probably really, really rich. Kind of deserves it. Like when it comes to music, this guy is definitely one of the best lyricists of all time. Deserves to be at this spot on my list. It's not really just about style with him, where he's rapping like super crazy and like has all these bizarre like rhyme schemes and patterns. He can actually like write like a good song, you know what I mean? Like when you listen into his lyrics, they're really good punchlines, and they're really good metaphors and similes. Very smart he's very smart when it comes to writing. I think he went to university too, so it's understandable. He has a great mind for music videos, you know what I mean? He has a great direction, and like he understands what he's like putting out. I respect him for that, having such a great mind for hip hop, just for the art in general. Like when it comes to like visuals, definitely deserves to be at number 48. So we're gonna keep moving Moving on, at number 47, we have Big Pun, aka Big Punisher. He's from White Plains, New York. He was discovered by Fat Joe. So Fat Joe is the reason for him being signed under Terror Squad way back in the day. I think this is like the late 90s to like the early 2000s. He was part of the Lyrical Assassins before. He's part of the Lyrical Assassins, a collective of rappers he started off with before he got signed with Fat Joe and Terror Squad. He was an athlete, so he always had a weight issue where he was struggling to lose weight. He got to a point where he was like 639 pounds, you know what I mean? He was obese. He actually had to attend like weight loss programs and all that just so that it kept him alive, kept him healthy. Before his obesity, he was actually an athlete. He was a basketball player, which he played basketball like every day apparently. Before he started to add the weight, he was also a boxer. He was like a legit serious boxer too. But then after he stopped doing all that stuff, got into rapping with like Fat Joe. Once he started to see the money, he started to get money for his music. I feel like he started to like let go of his health and like the sports. Started to pay more attention to what was making him all the money he was making, and then that's what started to like, you know what I mean, make him gain all the weight. Not sure. Yeah, it was part of why he died, because he ended up having a heart attack. He's supposed to do a show with J-Lo, Jennifer Lopez, and Fat Joe, and then in his like hotel room, he ended up getting a heart attack. Being 640 pounds, you know what I mean, like being that much overweight, that was part of the reason why. Like that's really big. Like think about 600 pounds, you know what I mean? It's a really sad story that he ended up passing away, but that was the story, you know what I mean? And it's like, if he stayed healthy, he probably would have been one of the greatest rappers to like ever. He probably would have been a little bit higher on my list, to be completely honest, just because of the small sample size of his discography. That's 47. We're gonna move on to the last name on this video. In this video here, at number 46, we got Missy Elliott. Missy Elliott is a female rapper from Portsmouth, Virginia. She's well known for her reign during like 2000 and I'll say like 5 all the way to like 2015. She was just running it, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think there was a bigger hip-hop star than Missy Elliott, maybe besides between 2005 and 2015, besides maybe like Jay-Z. Maybe I don't think there was another big hip-hop star that was like doing what she was doing, like doing stadiums whenever she does shows, being nominated for so much awards for like music videos and all that. And like, she always made like crazy music videos. They always had so much like dancing and like so much bizarre things going on. It was sort of similar to what Ludacris did in his music videos, you know what I mean? She added dancing on top of all of like the crazy visuals going on in her music videos. It kind of like improved the technology of like what you can do in a music video too, in terms of like adding effects and all that. She's like the pioneer of like adding crazy effects to the music video on top of the dancing to making the video just like just crazy, you know what I mean? And people consider her as the queen of hip-hop, you know? I'm not sure if she's the highest on my list out of all the female rappers. She might be, because I don't think I put any other female rapper after Missy Elliott. I don't remember. She might be the highest on my list in terms of all the female rappers, so you can definitely look at her as the queen of hip-hop, probably the queen of music videos too, because like I said, man, female or male rapper, no one had music videos the way she made her music videos. So that's honestly all I got for my list here. I really appreciate everybody giving my videos and my music streams and views. I really appreciate it. It's helping me a whole lot. Tell a friend, tell a family member that I do this if they're interested in hip-hop. They might be interested in the style that I make too. Stay tuned for more music for the next video that's coming up, part 7. Yeah, that's it for me. Subscribe if you haven't. Like and subscribe. Norris.